Agbado corn. One of the groups that we are funding, I think they just harvested corn. They are Layi Adeola farmers cooperative. Is that right? Yeah. So we're already doing some of this. Agribusiness. I think Layi Adeola is going to talk about agribusiness tomatoes. Now, some of you may not be familiar with this. Tomatoes, there are two varieties of tomatoes. Okay, there are those varieties that are called determinate. What happens is that as soon as they grow to the point of producing fruit, within a short period of time, 3 to 4 weeks, they ripen that. But there are those that are the indeterminate varieties. Once they get to the point of production of fruiting, they continue to fruit, okay, for about a year. So be aware of that and choose the right type that will fit your needs. What you need, a lot of water, a lot of nutrients, and if you select the indeterminate variety, you can plug their vines, soak them in water for about 10 days. They will put out fruit, and then you can propagate it. So keep that in mind. We have pepper. We used to produce a lot of pepper in Iree, right? Atarodo, Ila, so we have a variety of options. So keep all those in mind. And for those that require a longer period of time, plantains, they will do better with watering, and after about 12 months, then they continue to put out suckers. And those suckers are also very valuable. So every 6 months after the sucker is produced, then they can be higher. So processing into expenses and revenue. That is why 3 years ago when we started the workshop, that was our emphasis on the workshop. Get people together, train them to acquire the basic skills, and access to finance. So there are various areas of finance, but we have emphasized cooperatives because with cooperatives, it gives you a buy-in into what you want to do, and with that cooperative, you can band together, exchange ideas, exchange information, have access to the same pool of funds. So I'll conclude by indicating that for sustainable development of Iree and for the growth of Iree, our youth, empowering them is extremely important. Okay? And the sustainable development happens when we all play a role. Okay? We all have individual roles to play. We have some responsibilities. And so when we all band together and play a role, having sustainable development is going to happen when we all play a role. So there are elders in the community, there are leaders in the community, there are investors. So when we all band together, that is when it's going to happen, so that our youth can cultivate the culture of agriculture, where agriculture is filled with pride and with purpose. And there are various opportunities for empowering youth in agriculture, crop and livestock production, processing, packaging, marketing. It's a full value chain. It's a full value chain. And so, empowerment requires access to finance and capital. I have a yellow highlight on that map because that is one thing that we have to consider in the way because of terrain, because it tends to be rocky, and so we have to strategize as to how we can get a huge parcel of land and then encourage our youth to get into those parcels of land. So that will allow them to build a self-sustaining livelihood that will support and strengthen both their families and the community. So imagine an Iree that has a thriving agricultural economy, a thriving agricultural model for state and Nigeria. Okay? A place where young people see agriculture not as a fallback, but a calling. And I have on one of the videos, anyway, that's okay. It doesn't seem to stick. So when they ended the process and formed the cooperative, got all the relevant licenses and certificates, that is the video. Unfortunately, it's not playing right now. That's the video that they recorded. Okay? So the other aspect is providing access to capital. So we funded Layi Adeola Cooperative Investment and Credit Society, and then there is another offshoot, Layi Adeola Society. That's an offshoot of the Layi Adeola Cooperative Investment and Credit Society. So we in Iree community in America, we are very proud of what we are doing to empower the youth in Iree and increase their earning potential. So that's Iree community in America. So those of you in the audience who may not have heard of this, okay, realize that there may be some opportunities for you to get funds, okay, to finance your, what you are interested in. But our emphasis is forming cooperatives, because cooperatives can all work together and achieve more than you can achieve individually. Okay, so let's go to the second aspect. What I'm going to do in crop production and livestock production is not going to be new to a lot of you. What I'm just going to do is list all those areas that you can think of and try to engage. I've broken them down into those that the crops that can produce in 180 days or less, and those that can produce over 180. So, as you all know, Iree has historically been an agricultural community. Residents are primarily engaged in farming and related vocations. But over the years, most of the farmland, they are giving way to housing development. So a lot of the arable farmland, they are now developed for housing. But in Iree today, so one of the things that we have to consider, okay, are natural obstacles relative to our terrain. Our terrain in Iree is rocky, right? So the arable land that is available, okay, tends to be limited. So whatever we do in terms of empowering youth, we have to think forward as to how we can provide this arable land and get them into keep that in mind. And one of us in April got a land in Iree, fenced it land, and is producing plantains right now. So this is a picture that was taken a week ago of how all the plantain plants have grown. So that's an example. Then there is cassava. I know that the Layi Adeola Farmers Society that we are funding, they just got land that they are going to use for again production and then issue and all the process. So oil palm, this is much more long term. So if you have the land and you want to develop that takes about 3 to 5 years. And this is a picture from a French farm that we worked with that is developing. I think he has about 4 hectares of palm trees. And so let's talk about livestock production. What I'm going to say right from the outset is that livestock production is much more capital intensive. So when you compare it to crops, okay, producing crops, right? Livestock production tends to be much more capital intensive. And it requires more technical knowledge. It requires more technical know-how. So, I'll go through the 8 things. If you are going to raise pigs, and you want to raise the pigs profitably, there is a lot of technical know-how that is needed in management, in housing, and in feeding. Especially feeding. Feeding tends to constitute about 70% of the cost of producing pigs. So you have to be technically savvy and have the right feed. The same with broiler chicken, the same with laying hens, the same with the backup. Then there's a friend that's also into goat farming, started a couple of years ago, now has about 50 to 60, and sells during high market situations when they are demanded. Grass matter, you remember how it can be produced, and then and rabbits. Yeah, and then snail farming. This is another area that is booming, that a lot of youth out there need to think about research into it, because it's highly profitable, especially with Islam. Islam, because that's highly profitable. Then beekeeping. I understand someone is going to talk about beekeeping later today, and then fish farming. So, leaving that, let's talk about processing. Processing cassava into gari, yams into elubo, plantain into chips and elubo, peanut processing, fish processing, and snail processing. Now, consider slime. Slime is very lucrative. It's a highly valuable product from snail. There are several varieties of snail. There's a variety that produces not only the meat, but produces slime. And a lot of pharmaceutical companies are, buying slime. It goes into a lot of skincare products. So think about that, because that's a highly lucrative area. And so, acquiring the know-how, the technical, he contributed, to some of what I'm sharing today. So I'm acknowledging him. He is one that is very passionate about youth in Iree, very passionate about development in Iree, and very passionate about agriculture. So he contributed to some of what I'm presented here. And then my cousin, I think Mukolasha, is a cousin of mine. He also contributed to this presentation. So with that, I will shut up and then say thank you. I don't know whether we're going to have question and answer right now, so I'll be ready to answer any questions that you may have.